Okay, got an interesting story to talk about today. A sign of the times we're living in. Quick poll. What's the biggest boogeyman out there for the radical left? Besides coronavirus and besides Trump supporters? It's guns. Guns are the most dangerous, insidious plague on this nation, especially in the hands of white Trump supporters. Even though nearly all mass shooters are radical leftists, but never mind that. Now the FBI has come out with some interesting new information about how guns are used in crimes. So let's talk about that.
Ba-na. Pearson Sharp.
First off, thanks for tuning in. And if you like these videos, please consider liking and subscribing or sharing with anyone you think needs to hear this. All right, so this report recently made headlines, unless you follow the mainstream media, in which case this will be news to you. You've heard the story plenty of times before. Guns kill more people than anything else. AR-15s are deadly assault rifles and no one should have them. Guns kill 20,000 kids every second and all that kind of nonsense. Well, it turns out now we have undeniable confirmation that all those claims are nothing more than a left-wing fantasy. Because in reality, more people are killed by being punched than are killed with deadly assault rifles. It's true. Here's the headline. See for yourself. And I'll put a link in the description below for any of you naysaying Nancys. So here it is. The FBI released its Uniform Crime Report, UCR, Monday, showing that more people were killed in 2020 with fists and feet than were killed with rifles of all kinds. Surprise, surprise. From listening to liberals, you'd think tens of thousands of people are killed every year by assault rifles. But you know how many it really is? 454. That's right. In 2020, 454 people were killed by rifles. Now, I'm not saying that's not awful. And each of those lives lost is tragic and regrettable. And those people were all loved and special to someone. But, you know what does kill over 10,000 people every year? Drunk driving. But I don't see a left-wing crusade to strip our constitutional rights away to end drunk driving. At the same time, last year, some 657 people were killed by personnel weapons, which are defined as hands, fists, and feet, etc. Same story in 2019, where 639 people were killed by hands and feet, while just 375 were killed with rifles. And 3.5 times more people were stabbed to death last year than were killed by rifles. Let that sink in. But everyone on the left screams, "People are dying! We need more gun laws!" Well, in case you didn't know, there are over 22,000 gun laws in the United States. 22,000! It may be hard for some people to understand, so I'll say it slowly. Criminals don't follow the law. I hear Democrats talking all the time about how they're going to take guns away from law-abiding citizens. But I've never once heard them explain how they're going to take them away from criminals. The Founding Fathers did not write the Second Amendment so that we could go hunting deer. They literally fought a war against Britain for our freedom so that we wouldn't turn out like Canada today, and knew exactly why it's so important for free citizens to have guns. And here's another fact you don't hear often enough. Over 2 million times a year, lives are saved by guns. That's right. Good guys with guns save lives over 2 million times a year. That's according to FBI statistics. My own father, who's 65 years old and lives alone, was sitting in his house one afternoon recently when a homeless person climbed over his wall into his backyard, brandishing a knife, and started trying to cut through his screen door to get in. My dad called the police, but he also had a shotgun, and he stopped the crazy homeless guy from getting in. The guy took one look at the business end of the shotgun and decided that he actually had somewhere else he needed to be right then. Which, thank God, my dad had a gun, because the police didn't show up for almost an hour. Now, I really want to know what the anti-gun people in the audience would have done in that situation. So a crazy person is breaking into your home with a weapon. What if you have kids there? Your children, elderly parents? Are you going to bargain with this lunatic and beg for your life and hope he doesn't kill you? Seriously, tell me in the comments what you would do in this situation if you didn't have a gun and the cops took an hour to show up. I'd really like to know. Every dictator, every fascist government you can think of has imposed total gun control and confiscated all guns from their citizens. Every one. Do you think there's a reason for that? Do you think there's a reason they all did that? Hitler, Stalin, Mao Zedong, any you care to name, they all took away their citizens' guns. You think you can own a gun in China? In North Korea? Well, now that's happening in the free world, too. Australia took away its citizens' guns in 1997, and now you have scenes like this playing out today. New Zealand is trying really hard to take away everyone's guns. They did it in England, where now you can see this happening. It's this simple. Free people have guns. Slaves do not. And now America is at a point where we have to decide, do we want to be free citizens? Or do we want to be slaves?